Jill Duggar's second husband revealed. Derek Dillard's house sold $300,000. Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. For Duggar family latest news update, please subscribe the channel and press the bell icon. The late summer sun filtered through the Arkansas sky, soft and heavy with humidity, when the shocking headlines first broke. Betrayed, Jill Duggar's second husband revealed. Derek's house sold for $300,000. It spread like wildfire across tabloids, online forums, and even through hushed conversations in churches where the Duggar name had once been revered. The Duggar family, known worldwide from the days of 19 kids and counting, had endured their share of scandals: Josh's arrest, Jana's long years of singleness, Jinger's rebellion in Los Angeles, but nothing could have prepared them for the betrayal that now surfaced. Jill Duggar, once the quiet, dutiful daughter who stood by her husband Derek Dillard through every storm, was suddenly being accused of moving on with another man, and the name of her second husband had been revealed. Cracks in the foundation. For years, fans had watched Jill and Derek's marriage with cautious admiration. They had broken away from Jim Bob's tight grip, chosen their own path, written a tell-all memoir, and even stood up for justice when Jill testified against Josh. But behind the smiles and the carefully worded interviews, things at home were unraveling. Derek, a lawyer working tirelessly to provide for his family, had been struggling under financial strain. The Dillards' modest house, purchased with hope and furnished with hand-me-downs, was more than a home. It was their statement of independence from the Duggar empire. But bills piled up. Lawsuits dragged on. Derek's student loans and the weight of providing for 4 children began to suffocate him. Jill, meanwhile, carried silent wounds. Years of estrangement from her parents had left her yearning for emotional support. She often cried at night, journaling about the distance between herself and her siblings. Jessa rarely called, Jana kept her distance, and Jim Bob still refused to acknowledge Derek publicly. And in the middle of that emotional wilderness, another man appeared, the stranger, who became friend. His name was Daniel Harper, a quiet, church-going man who had recently moved to their Arkansas town after a painful divorce. He was older than Jill, gentle, and deeply sympathetic to her struggles. They first met at a community event for homeschooling families. Daniel's children were in the same age group as Jill's boys, and naturally, conversations sparked. At first, it was nothing unusual. Small talk at picnics, shared prayers at Bible study, a friendly check-in when Derek was buried in work at the courthouse. But gradually, Jill found herself confiding in Daniel in ways she had never dared with anyone outside the family. He listened when she spoke of her broken relationship with Michelle. He nodded with understanding when she admitted how exhausted she felt keeping her marriage afloat. And Daniel? He offered what she craved most: understanding, validation, and warmth. It wasn't long before whispers began. Church friends noticed the two speaking after services. A neighbor mentioned seeing Daniel's truck parked near the Dillards' home more often than coincidence would allow the breaking point. Derek was not blind. He noticed Jill's phone buzzing late at night with unread messages. He saw the way her face lit up with relief when Daniel appeared at community gatherings. One evening, after putting the boys to bed, Derek confronted her. Jill's voice cracked. Are you seeing someone else?" Her eyes filled with tears. "Derek, I never meant for it to happen. I didn't look for this. But Daniel, he understands me. He listens. I feel alive when I'm around him." The words shattered Derek's world. The man who had fought against Jim Bob, the husband who had defended her when the whole world questioned the Duggar family. He felt as though his very heart had been ripped from his chest. Arguments grew heated. Doors slammed. Derek accused her of betrayal. Jill wept, torn between loyalty to the man she had built her adult life with and the comfort she found in Daniel's arms. By the fall of 2025, the Dillards' marriage had collapsed behind closed doors. The house on the market. The house that symbolized freedom became a prison of memories. Derek, unable to live among the ghost of their marriage, decided to sell. The listing shocked fans. Dillard home for sale, $300,000. Paparazzi swarmed the neighborhood, snapping photos of moving boxes stacked on the porch. Online forums erupted with speculation. Did Jill leave him? Who's the new man? Is this the end for the Dillards? When the sale went through, The news spread like wildfire. Derrick's once beloved home was gone, sold to strangers, and the family he had built inside it was fractured. The revelation. Then came the leak that a source close to the family confirmed the rumors. Jill had remarried. Her second husband was none other than Daniel Harper. The Duggar world exploded. Jim Bob, furious beyond words, called it a disgrace. Michelle, heartbroken, whispered in interviews about praying for Jill's soul. Jessa posted cryptic Bible verses about betrayal and forgiveness. Jinger, ever the independent sister, refused to condemn Jill, instead writing, "Sometimes women have to choose peace over tradition," but the harshest blow came from Derrick himself. On social media, he shared a photo of the empty living room, captioned, "This house held our dreams. Now it holds only silence. I fought for us, Jill. But you chose another path." The Duggar divide. The Duggar siblings were split in their reactions. Joanna reached out privately, begging Jill to reconsider. "We can fix this, Jill. Don't give up on Derrick." Jana, quiet as ever, avoided comment, though sources said she cried when she heard the news. Jedediah and Jeremiah, loyal to Jim Bob, publicly sided with Derrick, calling Daniel a homewrecker. Jinger, already at odds with the family, defended Jill's right to seek happiness. "She has suffered enough under this family's control." The feud reignited old wounds, fracturing siblings who once stood shoulder to shoulder. Jill speaks. Finally, Jill broke her silence. In an emotional interview with a national magazine, she addressed the storm. "I never intended to hurt Derrick. He will always be the father of my children, and I will respect him for that. But I was drowning in loneliness. Daniel came into my life when I felt invisible, and he reminded me that I was worth loving. I know people will judge me, but I can't live my life for appearances anymore. I have to choose what gives me peace." Her words sparked both empathy and outrage. Supporters praised her courage to step away from a broken marriage. Critics condemned her for abandoning vows she once called sacred, and through it all, Daniel remained quiet, standing beside her in church pews, a steady hand on her shoulder, as cameras clicked and whispers followed. Derrick's next chapter. Derrick, meanwhile, moved into a modest apartment near the courthouse. Friends said he was devastated, but determined to rebuild. His focus shifted to his law career and his children, whom he fought for shared custody. He was spotted attending court with tired eyes, but a determined expression. To some, he became a symbol of resilience, wronged but not broken. He rarely spoke of Jill publicly after the sale of the house, except for one haunting post. "Sometimes the person you take a bullet for ends up pulling the trigger." Jessa Duggar admits that she's struggling to bounce back after giving birth to baby number 6. Now that Jessa Duggar is settling in as a mom of 6, she's opening up about the ways that her body has changed postpartum. In a new YouTube vlog the former Counting On star shared on Monday, she revealed that she is struggling to bounce back after giving birth to baby Edward in July, and just like for many new moms, for her that means both losing weight and finding clothes that make her feel comfortable in her postpartum body. Jessa shared an update on her life with 6 kids. Edward arrived at the end of July, and since then, it seems like Jessa, her husband Ben Seawald, and their 5 older kids have found a way to their new routine, including homeschooling. "Edward is a really great, easy baby, and I'm thankful for that," she said. "He sleeps really well. Sometimes I get 4 to 5 hour stretches, and sometimes I have to wake him up. Sounds like the adjustment to a family of 8 is going smoothly." When it comes to post-pregnancy weight loss, Jessa said she still has a long ways to go. She explained that after gaining 45 pounds during her pregnancy with baby Edward, she's already jumped into using a fitness app to help move her weight loss along. "I want to say probably half of that weight's gone just from giving birth and a big baby and the placenta and all the water weight and everything from summer. But I'm like, boy, I still have a long ways to go," she said. She can't help but feel a bit frustrated. That feeling comes up when she realizes she can't wear her postpartum clothes quite yet, though she has done a bit of shopping to find some clothes that do fit her new body, and at the same time, she's trying to give herself a bit of grace. But people will say, give your body time. 9 months in, 9 months out with a baby. Took you 9 months to put on the weight. Expect about 9 months to get back to a place where you're feeling good. "I'm trying not to stress about it too much," she said. Plenty of fellow moms offered her comfort. The The comments were flooded with messages from moms who have been there, reminding her to be kind to herself during this time. "You have 6 amazing children, and you look so good. Being a mom is the most important job in the world," one person reassured her. Another commenter wrote, "I was told, it took 9 months to produce a child. It will take more to lose to the weight. Be patient. You look amazing. That 4th trimester can be so tough, but it's also temporary. She's got this." Jessa Duggar get lost. Ben Sewell Duggar family drama. It was a sweltering August morning in Springdale, Arkansas, when the Duggar household's peace shattered like thin glass. What began as an ordinary day of routine chores and cheerful chatter spiraled into one of the most explosive confrontations the family had seen in years. The day started innocently enough. Jessa Sewell was busy in the kitchen, the scent of cinnamon rolls and strong coffee drifting through the air. She had no idea that by sundown, she would be packing boxes, yelling at her husband, and making a decision that would shake the entire Duggar family tree. The first shock, the trigger for the day's chaos, arrived in the form of a single text message. Jinger Vuolo, Jessa's younger sister, had been scrolling on her phone in Los Angeles when she stumbled upon a tabloid headline that made her spit out her iced latte. Ben Sewell's secret ex-wife speaks out. Hidden marriage before Jessa revealed. Jinger froze, her heart thudding. She immediately texted the article to Jessa with a single line, "Please tell me this is fake." Back in Arkansas, Jessa was wiping sticky cinnamon glaze off her hands when her phone buzzed. She opened the message, saw the headline, and nearly dropped the phone into the sink. "What in the world?" she muttered, clicking the link. The article claimed that before meeting Jessa, Ben had been secretly married for 9 months to a woman named Madeline Carter, a fiery, dark-haired musician from Missouri. They had supposedly met at a Christian youth retreat when Ben was only 19. The marriage, the report said, ended abruptly and quietly after irreconcilable differences. Jessa's stomach churned. She had known Ben for years, been married for nearly a decade, had 4 children with him, and never once had he mentioned this woman. The confrontation. By the time Ben came in from his morning jog, Jessa was waiting at the kitchen table, the article pulled up on her iPad. "Ben," she said, her voice deceptively calm, "is there anything you want to tell me about a woman named Madeline Carter?" Ben froze mid-step, his sweat-soaked shirt clinging to him. What he stammered. "Don't you want me?" Jessa snapped, shoving the tablet toward him. "Explain." Now Ben's face turned pale as he read. "Jess, it's not what it looks like." "Oh, so you weren't married to this woman?" "That's not your name in the marriage certificate they dug up." Ben rubbed his forehead. "It was years before I met you. I was young, stupid. You were married, Ben. And you didn't think your wife deserved to know." The tension in the room thickened, the clock ticking ominously in the background. The Duggar family reacts. Word travels fast in the Duggar family. Within hours, Jessa's sisters were calling, texting, and in some cases, driving over to her house to see if she was okay. Michelle Duggar tried to calm everyone down, but Jim Bob, who had always been wary of Ben, was fuming. "I told you, he wasn't transparent," Jim Bob muttered to Michelle in the kitchen of the big Duggar house. "First he's dragging Jessa into that tiny house, now this." "What's next?" Jill, who'd been on rocky terms with the family for years, called Jessa privately. "Jess, you don't have to take this. You've got 4 kids to think about. Don't let him make a fool of you." Meanwhile, in California, Jinger was already messaging her Hollywood contacts, telling them not to feed the gossip machine, at least not yet, the property bombshell. As if the ex-wife revelation wasn't enough, another shock hit Jessa that same afternoon. She received an email from her realtor, the one who had been quietly helping her list a small rental property she'd inherited from a distant cousin. The message read, "Good news. The property sold for $1.9 million. Paperwork finalized this morning." Normally, this would have been a joyous moment. But Jessa's joy turned to outrage when she saw the fine print. The buyer was listed as BC Holdings LLC, which, after some digging, she discovered was connected to Ben himself. She stormed into the living room, where Ben was scrolling on his phone. "You bought my property," she yelled. Ben looked up, startled. "Jess, I was trying to help. You stole it out from under me. For some shady business thing? That was my inheritance, Ben. And you didn't even ask me." "It's for our future. Jessa's voice cracked with fury. "You mean your future?" because right now, you don't have one with me, the get lost moment. By early evening, the fight had reached a fever pitch. The kids were at Michelle's house, leaving Jessa and Ben alone in the echoing rooms of their home. You lied about your past, you lied about my property, and you've been making decisions behind my back for years, Jessa said, her voice trembling. I am done. Ben tried to approach her, but she stepped back, pointing toward the door. Get lost, Ben. Just get lost. Ben's shoulders sagged. Jess, no. I mean it. Go stay at your parents' house. Stay at a hotel. I don't care, but you're not sleeping here tonight. He left without another word, the front door slamming shut behind. Duggar news. Josh Duggar accused of breaking rules. Prosecutors slam his attempt at new trial. Duggar news followers are now watching Josh Duggar trying his best to overturn his 151-month prison sentence. But it seems that he isn't doing it the right way. Apparently, the disgraced celeb has been accused of breaking some major rules while he was applying for the trial. But that's not all. Fans were in shock when Josh's prosecutor recently slammed him and his attempt at a new trial. He exposed the disgraced celeb completely, and viewers were in disbelief. What is this all about? What did he reveal? Did Josh really break the rules? Keep on reading to learn more about this controversy because the tea is really hot. Duggar news. Josh wants a relief in court fees. But why Duggar news fans were in shock when Josh Duggar claimed that he was broke behind bars. He attempted to demonstrate that his account balance was 22 cents, with an outstanding 2 cents debt. The disgraced celeb further stated that he had no savings, property, or assets and didn't have any source of income at all. Josh tried to convince the court that even his family and friends weren't sending him money. Hence, he was unable to afford the court fees and applied for relief. Josh believes that he was entitled to relief because he lacked a stable source of income for further procedures. However, now it seems that things are going to get more messed up for Josh. Duggar news. Josh broke rules? Prosecutors slam him. Duggar news followers are now learning about Josh and his attempts to get out of prison. He initially claimed that his constitutional rights were violated. The disgraced celeb further tried to prove that he was deprived of a fair trial by listing several reasons. However, now his prosecutor is finally hitting him back with some shocking facts. The prosecutor actually claimed that Josh was breaking the rules during the process of filing the paperwork for the appeal. This is because the court papers didn't have any visible postmark on them. Moreover, there was no indication related to the prepaid postage that was included. But that's not all. Josh's documents further didn't have any kind of evidence that could prove that the envelope ever passed through the U.S. postal system. The prosecutor pointed out another flaw. They noted that the date indicated on the filing wasn't the actual filing date. Hence, things didn't turn out in Josh's favor, and he wasn't able to satisfy his burden regarding the prison mailbox rule. Josh's motion was untimely, which led the court to make a decision. The Sun revealed the United States respectfully requests that Duggar's motion to vacate, set aside, or correct sentence by a person in federal custody be denied. Moreover, Josh wasn't able to show and prove that he was denied getting his constitutional right. All of this makes it clear that the disgraced star failed again in his attempt to overturn the decision. What do you think? Do let us know in the comments section. Keep coming back to the TV season and spoilers for more updates. Josh admitted to hospital. Anna Duggar, very crying. Duggar family in shock. The Duggar family had been through scandals, heartbreaks, and controversies over the years, but nothing could have prepared them for the chilling phone call that came one late September evening. It was Jim Bob Duggar who first received the news to Mr. Duggar. The voice on the other end said gravely, "Your son Josh has been admitted to the hospital. His condition is very critical." For a moment, Jim Bob froze. His hand trembled around the phone, his eyes widening as though the world had just stopped. Michelle, sitting across the living room with a Bible open in her lap, noticed the sudden change in his face. "Jim Bob, what is it?" she whispered, already fearing the worst. He struggled to find words. His voice cracked. "It's Josh, he's in the hospital, and it's bad. Really bad." Michelle gasped, clutching her chest. Tears filled her eyes immediately, and the weight of a mother's fear pressed down on her heart. For all of Josh's mistakes, sins, and scandals, He was still her firstborn son, the one who had made her a mother, the one she had once cradled in her arms with dreams of his future. The rush to the hospital. News traveled quickly through the large Duggar family chain. One by one, siblings were called. Jessa, holding baby Fern in her arms, nearly dropped the phone when she heard. Jana, usually calm and collected, broke down into tears as she frantically searched for her car keys. Jinger and Jeremy, all the way in Los Angeles, sat in stunned silence, unable to comprehend the gravity of what they had just been told. But no one took it harder than Anna Duggar, Josh's wife. She had been by his side through everything: the trials, the court cases, the humiliations, the jail time. She had stood in the shadows, defending him when few others did, raising their 7 children almost single-handedly. When she got the call that Josh had collapsed and been rushed to the hospital, her knees gave out. "No, no, no. God, please," she whispered, clutching the edge of the kitchen counter. The children gathered around her, confused and frightened. Little Meredith asked softly, "Mommy, is Daddy okay?" Anna pulled her into her arms, sobbing, "Daddy's very sick right now, sweetheart. We need to pray for him." Within the hour, Anna was on her way to the hospital. Her heart pounded in her chest as she drove, tears blurring her vision. Every red light felt like a cruel delay, every passing minute a thief stealing away the time she might have left with her husband. The scene at the hospital waiting room was heavy with tension and grief. Jim Bob sat hunched forward, his hands clasped tightly, whispering prayers under his breath. Michelle sat beside him, tears running silently down her cheeks as she gripped a rosary-like set of prayer beads. When Anna arrived, she rushed through the automatic doors and nearly collapsed into Jim Bob's arms. "How is he?" she cried. Jim Bob shook his head slowly. "The doctors are doing everything they can, but they said it's critical." Anna's sobs echoed through the room, drawing sympathetic looks from nurses passing by. She buried her face in her hands, trembling. All the years of defending Josh, of standing beside him no matter what, came flooding back. And now, when she might lose him forever, she realized how much of her life was still bound up in his. Flashbacks of a complicated past. As Anna waited for any news, her mind spun backward through the years. She remembered the young man she married, full of charm and promises, telling her they would build a godly family together. She remembered their wedding day, when she walked down the aisle with stars in her eyes. She remembered the first time she placed their newborn in his arms, the joy that lit up his face. But she also remembered the darker times, the betrayal, the public disgrace, the endless nights crying herself to sleep. She had forgiven him again and again, because that's what her faith and her vows demanded. And now, standing on the edge of possibly losing him, she realized just how much she still loved him. The doctor's report. Hours later, a doctor